Rugby League is back.
Drum roll, please.
You're a true Warriors fan.
I have no recollection of that hot take.
We don't all have to agree.
It's good to be back.
It's just a really boring thing.
Oh, partner.
Start winning some games.
I think there'll be a lot of changes to the team.
I've got them making the 8 for mine.
Let's go. Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Advantage Line, TAB's Rugby League betting podcast. My name is Karl. This is Paul Mawadi, and joining us from Australia, Nick Tedeschi.
Hello.
Teddy, we'll start with you. How are you, man? How was the off season?
Well, it's a great start to the podcast season. You didn't say I'm from Aussie, unlike every other New Zealander, so it's a wonderful start, Karl. So much appreciated. Off season was hot and boring, like it always is. We just wait for rugby league. You know, you kind of have a month off, and you think, "Oh, this is good. I'm not doing as much work." And now it gets to January, and just like, bloody hell, can this thing start soon? So I've just been head down in numbers, just crunching away, going through the teams, getting all the injury reports sorted, making some phone calls. It's been it's a great time of the year. I was speaking to former podcast member Matt Fisk the other day, and he went away for a few days, and he's just like, how good is just looking at spreadsheets, thinking about rugby league. It's like, it is the best.
I just want to go back to something you said you were getting the injury reports sorted, making some phone calls. Are those two statements related, or?
Well, I'd just like to know how many people are in, how serious the injuries are, when people come back. You know, just kind of just getting in touch with people in the game. You know, people who wouldn't want to be associated with a betting podcast anyway.
I like that.
Oh, dear.
Moati, how was your off season?
It doesn't really feel like an off season, to be fair. There's been plenty going on, so. But I'm really happy that we're getting ever that much closer to the start.
This week,
well, yeah.
Of the season.
I've seen one team list come out, and I'm already filthy about it. What the hell is Charles Nichol-Klokstad doing at fullback?
Here we go. Watch out, Wars fans.
No, I don't want to spoil the next month, but I don't mind the Wars this year. But I don't mind the Wars under the impression that Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is playing fullback.
Well, just have to wait and see.
Well, it doesn't look like I have to wait and see. It looks like I've waited and I've saw. And I'm about to downgrade them.
We haven't even got past the intro part of the run sheet yet, and we're already derailed. I'm trying to run a tight ship this year.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I actually read the run sheet this week, and this said it didn't only say intros; it said intros / something talk. And I believe I'm into the something talk. I believe I'm ahead of schedule.
That's fair play. For those that can't read, no, I won't say it. Oh, we got a little beep button we could use.
Yeah, I tried.
It's turned off.
It's turned off. We've done something.
That's Karl and Moati at the morning.
Yeah. We've got new gear. So.
You get new podcast studio gear. We're flying.
It should be a much improved Advantage Line season.
It's hard to believe because it's still the same three hosts.
I thought we were pretty good last year, to be fair.
I'm not sure how much upside we've got left in us, Paul, after what's this, about our 8th year of the pod?
Yeah, there's a real floor ceiling.
Paul's done about 8 straight years. I had a couple of years hiatus over in the Super League before returning. Those players that come back from Super League are rarely as good the second time around.
He can claim a Man of Steel, but he can't do much else.
I was going to say I'm the Kyle Felt of the podcast, but he's gone now, so I really don't want to associate myself with Kyle, unfortunately.
I think you might need to speak a little bit more into that microphone there, Paul.
Oh, is that better?
Yeah.
Oh, you got that? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Same old podcast.
I hear you.
Welcome to 2025.
All right. Quick, I guess, preview into the season. It's going to be run very, very similar to last year. But the next 4 weeks, we're going to look at the table from last year and go through the teams one by one from the bottom up. Both quick look at last year and look ahead to this year. And then as we get into the season, it'll be some previewing, some punting, some games, having a lot of fun. It'll be us three. We've got Blake Ashford, Surly back.
Yeah.
And
Still going to keep every week this year, or?
well, he hopefully sees this, and he does. Get a commitment from him early.
I want to sign a contract before the season starts.
Yeah. Let's get into it. This is before we do officially get into it.
Yeah.
Got to ask the question that's probably been asked on every single podcast recorded throughout the world this year. NBA, Luka AD trade. What's the NRL equivalent?
That's happened, or that might happen?
Yeah, just hypotheticals. What would be the equivalent? We had a discussion about this in the office the other day. It went for way too long.
Yeah.
It would be like the Storm giving up Harry Grant, Jerome Hughes, and Cameron Munster for Tamara Martin and Luke Metcalf.
You can't come in and just fire shots like that. You get us cancelled from the jump.
In all sport, I don't follow soccer, so there might be some equivalent there. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Like, if we go back in history, like this wasn't a trade as such. But in 2004, Canterbury made a decision to keep Brent Sherwin and Braithen Astor over Jonathan Thurston. Now, that wasn't Thurston at his peak, all that stuff. So that worked out about the same way as this is going to work out. I mean, you kept a couple of guys who are average at best for one of the game's great players. Well, they've just traded away one of the game's great players in his prime.
Can't argue with that.
No. But are they doing it for a reason? Are they looking to tank, like seriously tank, so they can move the team? I read this, I think it was in The Athletic, that the owners are very keen to have a casino with the new basketball stadium built within that in Dallas, but the regulatory board turned them down. They don't meet again for another couple of years or something to review things. So they're trying to tank the Dallas Mavs so that the Dallas fans hate them. They can then relocate them to Vegas and then have a casino as well.
And also the odds that Paul doesn't believe in that COVID exists and believes that there's a conspiracy to take over the world is firmed into about $1.03. I think the more plausible explanation is they have an absolute moron as their general manager who actually equated a 31-year-old Anthony Davis with a 25-year-old Luka Doncic and said, I'd rather have him. The fact they even gave up a draft pick to go with Doncic. Like, what? You want to get rid of him. I just don't understand. If you want to get rid of him, why wouldn't you go shopping? You're telling me you couldn't have got more than you could have got for it?
Oh, there would have been teams who were very, very keen to pick him up.
It was actually unbelievable. Like the fact that everyone thought Shams had been hacked when he reported it. It's like, well, that says everything.
Right, we're off topic. Okay. I wanted NRL equivalents.
Hey,
but we're gonna cut it. It's done. We're gonna move straight into last year's ladder, and we're gonna start at the bottom, the very bottom. They've been at the bottom for a long time. Our good friend Blake Ashford's West Tigers. I've asked you boys. I did not partake in this homework, but I've asked you boys to describe the 2024 West Tigers season in 5 words or less. Teddy, I will start with you because I know this will be good.
Glorified New South Wales Cup term.
Far off.
I didn't quite follow the instructions.
They were laid out.
This is going to be like Paul's gut feeling. He'll have written an essay on this.
No. Instead of that, I've gone for song lyrics or song titles that I think describes.
I love this.
Season. So Tigers 2024, it's not the actual title of the song. The title of the song is Loser by Beck. And the lyrics are, I'm a loser, baby, so why don't you kill me? That's Tigers 2024.
I love that.
that's
Because
the
I've
one.
inadvertently named my 2025 expectations for the Tigers in 5 words as song title.
I don't know where to go. This is... We are back.
We're off.
We are back. Ins and outs. We'll have a quick look at.
Yeah.
Well, actually, firstly, anything, I'll give you a minute each on the 2024 season to go with your 5 words or less about the Tigers, Teddy.
Right, debacle of the season. Obviously, in the middle of a rebuild, Shane Richardson at the helm, which is obviously kind of needed to bottom out there. Benji was given no favours in his first season. Ross just wasn't up to it, and there's a poor attitude. I think he's got rid of a lot of those players that caused some issues, even the talented ones like a John Bateman. I think moving them on was super, super important. They're a bit Cronulla early in the season, so there is a little something there, but it's a team that just does not know how to win. Made 3 wooden spoons in a row and needed to really bottom out, and they really bottomed out last year.
Paul?
I agree. They, to a certain extent, they were sort of the authors of their own demise. And the fact that they've had that clean out now, I think gives them that opportunity to sort of start with a fresh, I guess, just a clean slate. I'm just concerned, is there enough leadership there? The likes of Coruscant, Luai, are they going to be able to lead this team to, well, an improvement? And I think they will improve this season. I just don't think it's going to be a big improvement.
A couple of stats that I think will kind of put the Tigers season in context as well is that they were the second most injured team last year with the best 17. So, excuse there. And their true win number was about 1.1 wins over their actual wins. So they just kind of weren't getting home in the games they needed to win. So, I would say they're a slightly better team than their record suggested. And with injuries, I think they're probably starting for a bigger base than maybe a lot of people think.
Mm. That's tough, being a slightly better team than you.
One win over or under your true win rate is actually quite a lot. That is over the course of a season. Like I would say that is the 3rd biggest of the year of any team.
So sorry, you're saying
I'm saying they should have won 7.1 games more. And they only won 6. So they're actually a 7.1 win team going into the year, not a 6-win team.
I thought you were the other way. I thought you were saying they overachieved.
No, they underachieved. So there's a little bit there based on the Tigers team from last year, and of course we haven't got into the improvement they've made to their roster.
Well, we'll do that. Big ins, Jerome Luai, Sunir Turuva, Royce Hunt, Jack Bird, Terrell May, and Jarrell Skelton. Outs, Isaiah Papali'i, Junior Tupou, Stefano Utokumanu, John Bateman, Jaden Sullivan, Aiden Caesar, and your man, Teddy, Solomon Alemalo.
Very, very positive news getting rid of a rugby union player. Very positive news.
I thought we talked you into him last year. I thought you were around. You were all on.
I don't know why you thought that. Because I bet against him every week for first try scorer. Whoever was opposite. I'm pretty sure I've saluted a few times. So.
But looking at those ins and outs, the ins for me far outweigh the outs.
This is a markedly improved roster. Like, I kind of gave this team was one of the few teams to get an A-grade rating for their transfers. But, like, the only real talent they lost a young prop in his prime, Udui Kamanu.
Yeah.
But replacing really well with Terrell May. Terrell May's another young prop. And if Terrell May can defy his family's history of being complete morons and getting themselves suspended, well, then he's in a good spot because he's a very talented player.
Yeah.
And losing Isaiah Papali'i doesn't help, but losing a hard-working edge is not the end of the world either. I think that Jerome Luai could be a game changer. I think that's still to be proven, whether he can cope with that Cleary or that kind of stuff. Like, I think there's a little bit to prove there, but I'd probably lean on him doing it than not. I think May has the potential to be one of the best props in the game, like, without question. And everyone talks about Turuva for a wing backup fullback. Jarrell Skelton, as a dog fan, I watched him closely. He's an excellent, big-bodied, hard-nosed winger that is going to get you a lot of metres in your kick returns. He's going to win you a lot of early tackles, and he's going to get over the try line a lot. I think he's a really good sign. Their biggest weakness last year, and they had a lot of them, was their three-quarter line. It was just an array of just like absolute bums who shouldn't be anywhere near first grade. Well, you look this year, if Oliver Dewey can stay healthy in the centres and you've got Scotland Truver on the wings, that's an acceptable three-quarter line. That's not even that's probably a bang average three-quarter line, which is what you need. So I thought the only bad signing was Jack Bird. I think Jack Bird was a disgrace at the Dragons last year with his effort. And I think he has the potential to be another John Bateman, but new club, maybe not. So we'll see on that. But I don't see how they don't improve this year.
First shout out to our man Jack Bird. Didn't take that long.
Won't be the last.
No, not at all. He mentioned the big signing Jerome Luai and how much everyone's going to be looking at him and relying on him in that team. Is it too much? Is Jerome Luai the answer?
Look, I think he certainly adds to the team. His pairing with Lachlan Galvin, who was very, very good last season in a team that struggled at the best of times. So the quicker that combination gets together, the better for the time. And I think they will. I think they will combine very, very nicely as long as... The problem is they're a wee bit light in the centres. If they have an injury there, then there's not a lot to come through. If they have an injury in the forward pack, then there's a wee bit of depth there now where they can sort of juggle the seats a wee bit. But just out in the centres, where if Dewey and Olin can stay fit, then they're an outside chance for a top 8. I don't think they'll finish in the top 8,
please,
but they will be improved from last season.
Here's one thing as well about the Tigers that I'll say. In my player ratings this year, I have the Tigers having the 4th best spine in the comp. Now, I can't believe I'm saying that. But Coruscant's obviously an elite hooker. Galvin's a huge young talent at 6. Luai is like the perfect fit to kind of slide in there for mine. And Bull's a good fullback. Like, the Tigers with the 4th best spine, it's a huge improvement last year where they would have had like the 12th or 13th because they had no halfbacks. So I think I think he fits well. And also I don't think they'll be solely reliant on Luai. I think sometimes you get these good players who go to bad clubs and then it's all up to them. And that rarely works out. I actually don't think it's all up to him. I think part of his job will be helping develop Galvin as a player. But I think he gets enough from Coruscant to be able to create more. I think the problem last year was Coruscant was one out. Now I think Coruscant's got a sidekick there.
And love to see the workings of your player ratings to give the Tigers the 4th best spine there, Teddy. That's
I can show you. So just the
we don't have time.
So you wouldn't love to.
It was a rhetorical.
Well, don't ask questions you don't want to answer to, Karl.
I should have known. Looking at the draw, they played 12 teams in the top 8 from last year, 12 teams in the bottom 9. They play the Raiders twice, Titans twice, Sea Eagles, Cowboys, Eels, Panthers, and Wars twice. Where do you have them rated? I know you do the draw ratings, Teddy.
Strength of schedule.
Strength of draw, strength of whatever. What have you got?
I've got them as the 11th easiest schedule, so kind of middle of the road. Their Origin run will probably work out well from this year because Coruscant has some hope. Luai will probably play their bye-bye and at the Roosters, and you think the Roosters are probably more hurt by Origin than the Tigers will. They get a good start. They get Newcastle twice in the first 7 rounds, and they've only got one. That's their only top 8 opponent in the first 7 rounds. So their season is going to be dictated by their start. If they get off to a bad start, they are cast. But I don't. If everything goes right, they could slide into the 8, I think. But I don't think that's anyway. I'd say there's a very low percentage chance of happening. I would say that for mine, they are looking at being around that 10th, 11th, 12th mark for mine.
Yeah. So we're still going to be talking about them in this pod next year.
Yeah. Maybe next week's pod.
All right. We're going to move on because, as I said, I'm going to run a tight ship here.
2025 Tigers in 5 words.
Yeah, there's one more. Give me a chance to point to you and give it to you.
I can see clearly now the rain has gone. Jimmy Cliff.
You've gone classy. I've gone the only way is up. Yaz.
Well, thinking off the top of my head, started from the bottom. Now we're here.
There's
some hope for the Tigers fans for the first time in many years. So
correct.
I think that regardless of what happens this year, they should be reasonably happy.
All right, next one. The South Sydney Rabbitohs. Describe their 2024 season in 5 words or less, or a song title, or however you want.
All that could go wrong.
Highway to Hell, AC/DC.
That's a great one.
That's a good one. Very good. All that could go wrong, you said, Ted.
Yep.
A lot of it went wrong.
Yep.
What do you want to pull out?
They kept their moron coach and they should have sacked him in the off-season, kept him for too long. And that caused all kinds of division within the club. Their injury toll, well, I've been tracking injuries for maybe 15, 16 years now. They had the worst injury toll of any team over that time. So they were clearly the most injured team. To put that in context, they lost, of their starting 17, they lost 138 games. That is insane. Campbell Graham missed the year, Ilias 22, Munro 20, Toller 18, Mitchell 13, Arrow 13, Johnson 11, Murray 10. Like, continuity is so important for the season. And factor that in with the division, like they weren't seeing a chance. You go through some of their team and see some of the players they played at halfback. Dion Tialpa, Dean Hawkins. They would have lost in some of those cup games last year. So I compared it to the 2016 Roosters season, where they'd won, I think, 3 minor premierships in a row, or they'd been up and about there, won a premiership a few years before. Ran second last, everything that could go wrong went wrong. Then they bounced back and had a very good year, very good run, 17 to 19. So, don't want to foreshadow how I think they're going to go this year, but yeah, everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong, and I think, a bit like your computer at the studio there, Karl. A fresh start's the way to go, and they'll be able to rebuild under Wayne. And that was the key to their last year. Nothing happened on the field. It was winning the race to get Wayne Bennett to come back.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge inclusion. I think from memory, Paul, we were all pretty high on the Bunnies last year when we did our ladder at the start of the season.
We were, yes.
I think I had them 8th or 7th, something like that, so I think we all had them in the 8.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to what Teddy just said?
They were terrible. And once again, injuries were a big factor there, but just
microphone, Paul.
What was going on?
Move this across. Get in there.
What was going on behind the scenes just permeated throughout the whole club, and it's very, very hard to turn things around when that sort of thing is happening. But it looks like they've added a few pieces this off season, and things are looking a wee bit brighter.
Latrell Mitchell, going to go good, going to go bad.
Oh, going to absolutely have an all-time season.
Yes,
I think so too. Yeah,
he's stripping fitter, and I think the key to him is it's not whether he likes the coach or not; it's whether he respects the coach. And I think him and Cody both not only love Wayne, they respect Wayne. They just had no respect for Demetrio and where he's taken him last year, and you can tell that carried on to their off-the-field behaviour and how the little effort that was put in some games, particularly from Cody last year. So I think Latrell's in for a big year. And I think Cody's maybe not far behind.
Yeah. Ins and outs. Ins, Lewis Dodds, Jamie Humphreys, Ewan Aitken, Lachlan Hubner, Jaden Sullivan, John Schuster. Outs, Tane Milne, Tom Burgess, Damien Cook, Lachlan Elias, Dean Hawkins, Michael Cheekham, Leon Teho, Isaac Tuitupo, Thompson.
Oh, I wish it was John Schuster, but unfortunately it's Josh Schuster.
Oh, sorry. Did I say John?
Yeah. We all wish John Schuster was making a comeback and playing for the Bunnies this year, but
shout out.
Big goal-kicking centre.
One of the great rugby players.
What?
Well,
He's a union player.
Played for the All Blacks.
He played for the Newcastle Knights. That's all I remember.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know he played for the All Blacks, so I'm glad you're not coming back, John Schuster.
Josh Schuster.
It explains his son's lack of willingness to tackle as well. So it's all coming into place now. I think there's a bit of risk about their recruitment this year. I think this is my biggest concern. Other than the Jaden Sullivan signing, I don't dislike any of the signings. But I see someone like Lewis Dodd, and there's been a pretty poor history of English halfbacks coming to Australia and playing well. He did get dropped by St Helens last year. I still think it'd be good. I don't think Wayne would have brought him over if he could cut it. But Josh Schuster, player with huge upside, obviously, but huge downside as well. What kind of attitude he'll have? You'd think Wayne would probably get something out of him and how they use him. I'm not sure.
Surely.
Young Jamie Humphries, I think, is a real nice sign. I think he'll probably play a bit of hooker, but you're their Duncan. They've gone all in on Pete Mamazoulis to play hooker. They've gone all. Lewis Dodd's probably got his nose in front to play halfback. Like that's two risky key positions. On the downside, they've been given the hardest draw of anyone. Andrew Abdo and Blake Solly don't get on too well, so I dare say you cop the Abdo draw there for South. Losing Damien Cook could help. Could hurt. Don't know. That's a tough one. Cook's problem is he always looks for himself first at dummy half. Takes a lot of time with the ball. And that's why Nathan Cleary never really liked playing with him, preferred playing with Coruscant. So I think that may have hurt last year as well. So as he gets older, he's a bit like Michael Lennon, so I don't think he's realised his declining limitations. And don't get me wrong, I'm the biggest Damien Cook fan in the world, but when you get to 32, the ability to run first out of dummy half probably shouldn't be your option. You know, like you've got to pick and choose your spots.
Did you know he was a champion beach sprinter?
Because?
I said, did you know he was a champion beach sprinter?
I have heard that somewhere. I have heard that. Have you heard Papua New Guinea, the only country in the world where rugby league is a national game?
He used to be a dog, didn't he?
He did used to be a dog. One game. We'll play. That's another Luka Doncic anyway. They finished 1.6 wins short of their true win number. So they were factoring all things from last year, they were a much better team than what they were. Like, I've got them winning 13 games this year. I think with the Wayne factor, I'm backing Dodd will be good. They are probably a better team than what they're initially kind of coming from. They definitely were a 7-17 win team last year. Latrell and Cody getting more out of them. I'm reasonably high on them. I'm concerned about some injuries. I know Campbell Graham got hurt again the other day. Alex Johnson's out for a while. Good news is Cam Moser's schedule should be back by round one. So I'm pretty high on South this year. I think they're massive improvers, and I've got them making that.
Yeah, the big plus for them is Wayne Bennett. He will quickly turn that culture back around. They'll be up on the thing. I remember Teddy and Fiskey used to say to me, British imports, forwards, yes, any day of the week. Backs, no. Maybe an outside back, like a Martin O'Fire or who was was it Carney who was out
of Newcastle, yeah?
Yeah, but in halves, no. Don't touch that. I remember they used to say, just don't touch them. And then
George Williams might have been the exception recently, which is kind of thrown, and Dom Young has thrown a kind of few.
A little bit, yeah, but yes, you're right. Georgie at the Raiders.
What about Sam Tompkins?
Did sort of turn that round.
Yeah, Tompkins wasn't bad. He wasn't that Dom Young kind of very good player.
But I agree with Teddy.
Great.
Lewis Dodd is a big. It's a double-edged sword. He could either be the missing piece that they really, really need, or he could just fail miserably and be a liability.
I will say this though, Paul. He is better than Lachlan Ilias, Dean Hawkins, and Dion Tiapa combined if you put all three of them on the field at once. Okay, and he might be average.
There's the Luca AD trade.
Yeah.
You mentioned strength of draw, Teddy, the toughest. They play 13. They play top 8 teams 13 times, bottom 9 teams 11 times, top 4 teams 8 times.
Yeah, they are the only team to do that.
Yeah,
which is brutal. And their starts of the year, their first 8 games, they play teams with a combined 119 wins from last year. That is the toughest 8-game schedule of any team in the comp. So they're when teams go bad the year before, you kind of want to get off to a good start, build some momentum, build some confidence. Well, they're behind the 8 ball, South. Upside is they're the 4th least travelled team this year. So they'll only travel 14,700 Ks, which is handy for them. Because last year they travelled, do you remember, last year they travelled to Vegas. They took a game to Perth. They're on the road a lot. So I think having a bit of stability there. Open 3 straight road games too. And 7 top 8 teams in the first 9 rounds. That's very, very, very tough. But I think, I'm kind of happy to back that the pros outweigh the cons of the draw.
All right, 5 words or less. 2025.
Wayne's back, so is South.
We.
Little River Band, help is on its way.
I think you want to stumble into something good here, Paul.
Yeah, I reckon.
I like this.
You can start writing the run sheets if you want.
Get out of it.
Okay. The Parramatta Eels. Give me 5 words or less on 2024.
Blown up with Barrett.
You're $1 to mention Barrett in that.
Won't be the last one either.
Well, we're not even a half an hour in on the first episode of 2025. Barrett gets brought up. I'm looking for a cease and desist this year. 2024 Eels, Queen and David Bowie under pressure.
I promised our boss there'd be no cease and desist. Paul, so you mind yourself.
Before we get your thoughts on the season, we'll go. Give me 2024, Teddy.
A debacle from beginning to end. On the field, key was Moses being hurt.
Yeah.
How many games? He missed, I think, 17 games. How many? Missed 16 games. Had no hooker to start with. Dylan Brown underperformed. Gutho getting old. But the key was the Brad Arthur situation. They either should have sacked him or should have kept him.
Should have kept him.
Well, maybe should have kept him, but there was no point because they missed out on Wayne Bennett, and Wayne Bennett would have gone there had they have got rid of him early, or they should have kept him because where they've gone to this year, and we'll get to that soon, is not smart. They had a bad roster, and they have made it significantly worse for them. And I think the on the positive side for the Eels, they were the team that finished the biggest below their true win number. They should have been a 9.5 win team. They won 7 games. They were 2-4 in close games.
Yeah, I've got them not quite as big, but yes, I agree.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they have a difficult draw against this year as well. So I just think they had a bad roster. It's and there's a lot of turmoil at the club, and we'll get on to their 2025 soon. But I think even with Gutho's decline on the field, I think getting rid of him is a huge blow to the culture of the club because he works hard and he brings work ethic, and I'm not sure they've got anywhere that has that anymore.
Yeah, he's the first guy you think of when you think of Parramatta Eels.
Yeah, and first I think everything of training hard and playing hard.
Can we just take a time to pause for a sec? Paul's got a spreadsheet here that looks incredibly in depth, and I just want to.
Well, it's exactly the same. Well, it's not exactly the same as Teddy's.
You couldn't keep up our betting spreadsheet last year. How have you done this? We've got every team from last year, their wins, their losses, like percentages, all sorts.
It's just
explain Paul in 5 words or less. Rain Man.
That's rocked me to the core, Paul. Well played.
Jimmy Barnes, working man.
New year, new you. 2024 for the Eels.
It's my Pythag chart for this season. So Teddy had his one. I think he had the Eels. How much?
2.4 wins short of what they needed to be.
Yeah, I had them 1.6. So we're on the similar lines, just a wee bit different. So
do you guys recall who won the betting last year?
Yeah.
Just no spreadsheets, eye test.
Really annoys me is the eye test wins. Really, really annoys me.
Sorry, 2024.
2020. They were a debacle. It got worse the longer the season went on. But once again, they weren't helped by injuries to key players, Moses in particular. But it looked like they gave up for a certain amount of that season. They just weren't putting the effort in. And
he's saying Trent Barrett couldn't motivate the team.
That's number 2.
C and D. No, they were poor. They were very, very poor.
Ins and outs, Zach Lomax in, Isaiah Longy, Dean Hawkins, Jack Williams, Josh Addo-Carr, Josh Papali, not the Josh Papali.
Joash Papali.
Yeah, is it really pronounced Joash?
Yeah.
Thanks to the parents. Jordan Samrani and Ronald Volkman.
Talking just an aside, we're going to take a little tangent. For those who haven't seen Josh Papali's kid, who was doing the rounds on Facebook yesterday. I'm going to send you a photo where you can put it up in the. I don't know if you can put up in the video clip of this. This 6-year-old is a dead ringer for his dad. I'm going to get your live reaction right now. It has just been sent through to you both. Check your phones. It is. How a 6-year-old can look this close to Josh Papali is insane. Even if this is his offspring.
That's brilliant.
Very good. He would run a hole through this defensive line at 6.
I'll tell you what, if I could make one under 6's teams win a premiership this year, that's the one.
You can't.
Shout out to the Belconnen United Sharks.
Got the one for the Prem.
Outs. Mentioned King Gutho, Ethan Sanders, Blaze Talagi, Dijon Arcee, Regan Campbell-Gillard, Blake's mate, Micah Sevo, Morgan Harper. I'm going to be careful with this one. Ofahiki Ogden and Makahese Makatoa.
Yeah, huge turnover. Jason Riles is trying to make his mark from the get-go. Jason Riles on the doorstep of history here. He'd be the first coach who was a complete moron as a player to actually prove himself to actually be an astute coach. So that'll be something for the Eels to look out for. It'll take some kind of minor miracle, and he's certainly proving. He's certainly continuing his playing days intelligence with some of the off-season moves. Letting Gutho go was about as dumb as I can think of for a club that's in this situation. Sevo can make big money overseas. Campbell-Gillard, needed more money. That's fine. There's no need rid of Gutho. Gutho didn't want to leave, wanted to stay, bled blue and yellow. I have some big concerns with the signings though. But also, the one to look at, and this isn't, I won't blame Riles for this one. I don't think he helped, but I won't blame Riles. But letting Blaze Talagi go, a possible generational talent, was one of the dumbest things. And that was an indictment of the club and where the club was at. So I don't think it was any one thing. I don't think it was the coach. I don't think it was his playing time. I don't think it was any of those things. I think he was just like, you know what, I'm good, and a full-time premiership winner wants me to start. I'm going to go with them, and they're going to offer me the same money. So they should have broken the bank to keep him. That's what they need to do. So the signings though, the ones they're spruiking. Zach Lomax. Most of his career has been nothing but underachievement, stupid flick passes, and missed tackles. That's Zach Lomax's career. Last year was the exception. Last year he was outstanding. What happened last year? He had a hard coach who moved him to the wing. Jason Riles said, "You can come play centre." I would expect if you go on history, I would expect more of 2018 and 2023 Zach Lomax than 2024 Zach Lomax. So on Josh Addo-Carr, who's lost a ton of speed and comes off, pretty poor last year at Canterbury. I wouldn't be expecting much of him. He's injury prone too now.
Injury prone too now, Josh Addo-Carr.
Injury prone and now has has some off-field issues. And this Isaiah Yongi, who's going to play fullback, has played one game. Now he's played 60 games in New South Wales Cup. would have thought if he's that elite level talent. I know that he's not knocking off Dylan Edwards to get into the side, but he would have forced his way into that 3/4 line. I'm not 100% sure about him as a fan, and as their clear number one. I don't know. I reckon this is a team that is bottom 4 morals. And I reckon the backside can fall out of this team real quick. They've got the worst roster from on. They've got a bottom 5 spine. They've recruited badly. They've got I reckon a guy who'll be a bad coach coming into the team. The board faction issues. I reckon this team is up for a massively bad year.
And both halves. Well, there's been chat already about both halves looking around for next year too.
And I'll both go. Well,
yeah.
I'll tell you what, Moses is a Mario because Moses likes to win. Moses is not going to want to copy this anymore.
Yeah.
Where's he going?
Moses to the Dogs, you've heard it first.
That's just like me saying Moses to the Warriors. Like, just because you say it doesn't mean it's going to happen.
I don't like Mitchell Moses. I don't want him to the Dogs. I dislike Mitchell Moses. And you know what the worst thing would be? So I don't know if you know this story, but James Tedesco was going to sign with the Dogs before he signed with the Roosters. But one of his things was he goes, I want Mitchell Moses to come along too. And the Dogs said no. Well played, Canterbury. Well played again. So it would just bring up a lot of that kind of hurt again. But no, I've heard Moses to the Dogs next year.
Okay. Your thoughts on the Eels 2024?
2025?
No, we're still talking about 2024.
Oh, are we? Not?
I don't know what we're talking about.
No, we've moved past 2024. We're on to 2025.
Oh, sorry.
We have.
I don't do well on paper sheets. I need my computer and the snooze. Anyway, what are your thoughts on 2025?
Well, I've got talking heads burning down the house, and I think we are going to see an almighty disaster at the Eels this season, even though the Pythag chart says they should improve on last year. I think they're going to go the other way just because of their recruitment and their lack of a coach.
It kind of doesn't work, the Pythag, though, if they've just kind of completely brought in a new roster.
Correct. That's right.
So that's where I'll end up with that. My 5 words. Rolls is the next T-Baz.
What?
Rolls is the next T-Baz is my 5 words.
I just want to point out, remember last year, I was the only one that had them finishing second or third last. Everyone else was a little bit higher on them.
Oh, I wouldn't have been that much higher on them.
No,
I know. I remember I was the lowest.
I do remember Blake had them second or third.
None of us will ever forget that, Paul. None of us will ever forget that. The Storm missing the 8 and the Eels finishing top 2.
No, and we'll make sure we get all the boys in for the last preview where we all do our ladder so we can, cross-check things. Right, we're going to have a little break from looking at the teams. We're going to play a game, bring in our the most favourite game of the week,
no.
Paul's most favourite game.
No.
I'm going to keep track of this year.
Good.
The NRL grid.
Rain Man's not doing it. What are you keeping track of? Scores or wins and losses?
I might do total score and position each week.
Yeah, I like it.
I
I haven't done the NRL grid for a few months, so this was
this was hard, I thought.
Took a little to warm up into this one.
This one was hard.
Yeah. Move on.
Right, so we are looking at the grid for Tuesday, February 4.
04.
If you're playing along at home, pause the pod, go find the grid, do it, come back and compare your scores. Across the top, we've got Apisai Kotesau, teammate, has played for the Cowboys, and Joe Nullival, teammate. Down the left, played for Manly, has played 200-plus games, has played for the Panthers. Teddy, your top row, please.
Appy Coruscant teammate Manly, Lewis Brown, 2.13. Cowboy Manly, Brain, 1.19. Ben Condon. Currently plays for them, thanks, Paul. Joe Nullival teammate Manly, Wizard, 0.12. Liam Foran.
I've decided I'm not going to keep tally anymore.
Don't worry, it gets worse after that. It's a good row.
Liam Foran, I forgot about that. You want to go, Paul?
Brent Kite, 2.90. Peta Hiku, 14.63. He's not my worst. Michael Robertson, 2.21.
I also had Lewis Brown, 2.13. Matthew Wright, 8.27.
Oh, a bit stiff on Matthew Wright.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I think there were only 20 players to choose from in this one.
Yeah, I think that's a bit stiff for Matthew Wright.
Joe Null, our teammate, played for Manly. Dean Whare, 2.56. Your middle row, Ted.
Appy Corus, our teammate, played 200 plus games. Isaac Luke, 3.32. Cowboy, 200 plus games. Jordan McLean, 3.83. And Joe Null, our teammate, 200 plus games. Nathan Hindmarsh, 3.29.
James Tarmo, 4.72. Ashton Sims, Brain, 2.45.
Oh, my guy.
First time Ashton Sims has ever been associated with a grain.
Frank Pritchard, 2.74.
Oh, Frank the Tank. I also had Isaac Luke, 3.32. Cowboys 200 plus games. Jake Granville, 3.86. Joe Null, our teammate, played 200 plus games. The Little General, Brain, 1.8. Stacey Jones.
Oh, nice. Did Joe play for the Warriors?
Yep.
He started.
That's where he started.
Yeah. I have no recollection. I thought he started Penrith.
Nope.
And he started in the back.
He was a fullback, wasn't he?
Yeah, fullback.
There you go.
Bottom row, Ted.
Appy Corus, our teammate, Panthers, Sonny Luke, Wizards, 0.32. Cowboy, Panther, Jeff Bell, 1.78. And Joe Null, our teammate, Panther, Luke Swain, 1.3.
DWZ, 3.11. James Sigiaro, 10.13. Jamal Idris, 100. I thought their paths had crossed. I thought they...
I reckon
they missed by 10 years.
What?
When did Joe Nullarbell
Yeah,
leave Penrith?
Nullarbell was like early. He was he was the Hair Bears at Panthers.
Yeah. So Jamal Idris went to Penrith.
Yeah.
Jamal Idris made his NRL debut in 2008. Went to Penrith in 2014.
Joe Nullarbell was at Penrith in like 2004.
Joe
2001.
Nullarbell was at Penrith in 2002 to 2005. Missed by 9 years, Paul. Joe Nullarbell played for 3 other clubs in between and was retired in 2014. He went to Penrith.
Oh dear.
That's good.
I might keep track of the total hundreds per person as well.
This is going to be great.
I had Qantas, our teammate, Panthers, Kurt Capewell, 2.21. Cowboys, Panthers, Tamaito Martin, 7.41. Joe Null, our teammate, Panthers. I thought it was a bit stiff here, but I suppose the longevity comes into play. Luke Lewis, 6.86.
You know how some clubs you just like seem to swap players all the time, and like it's quite easy to remember what players who play for the Dogs and St George, or Warriors and Tigers and all that stuff. Penrith and Cowboys just seem utterly ridiculous, and Manly and Cowboys. I couldn't think of.
Yeah, no good. Anyway, with totals, please.
17.3.
142.9.
And I had 38.4, respectable second place.
He should get 200 for picking a player that was a decade off.
Stop throwing in these rules willy-nilly.
Too good. All right, moving on.
Where are we going?
To the next team, the Gold Coast Titans.
Tijans.
Teddy, 5 words or less, 2024.
Mediocrity is thy name.
I've got Tom Petty, free falling. And that's how they finished the season.
They did, yeah. I was quite high on the Titans last year. I thought they were going to be all right.
That's on you.
Well, they had a little period where they won like 6 out of 7. Thought they were back, and then they lost 7 in a row to finish. But
put 66 on your mob.
Hey,
Let's not forget that.
no, I'll cut you off. I've got the ability to turn your mic off.
You've always had the ability. You just have to press end call.
Yeah.
We're not inviting you back next week.
But now we can do it officially, and me and Paul can just keep chatting.
I'll give you some stats about the Titans. So I was going back on this for people because you weren't the only one who was high on the Titans last year. They were a bit of one of the little darling teams we thought to do well. Since 2010, the Titans have played finals. They played 2 finals. 2 finals. They have not won more than 11.5 games since 2010. They have not had a winning record since 2010. They've reached double-figure wins 4 times since 2010. Wow. This is a club. I don't think I really realised this because I wasn't high on the Titans last year, but I had been high on them in previous years. They're just a shit club. I'm sorry, they just are. Everything doesn't matter who they sign, the talent they've got there, they cannot get it together. And I'm happy to be against the Titans forever because last year was exactly that.
Do you know what I reckon it is? This is how I feel anyway.
Yeah.
They still feel like a reasonably new team. Like, I think back to when they did come into, 2007, 2008? And they actually had a pretty good team. You know, Preston Campbell, Scotty Prince, all those guys. And they made the finals, and they were giving it a good run every year. And you kind of think back to that, and you're like, oh, yeah, they go all right.
Yeah, well, it's been 15 years since. We're talking generations of players. Couldn't even tell you how many coaches have been through that time.
And look, that probably tells you more about how I feel about where I'm at in my life and my age.
No, I know. It's not when you go back and someone goes, in 1990, it's 35 years since 1990. And if you go back to 1990, that would be like going back to 1955. That's it. In 1955 seemed a long time ago. 1990 now doesn't seem that far ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
exactly.
So I definitely get all that, but I did a lot of work, in particular on the Titans this year, and I'm just convinced this is a club that just cannot get out of its own way. There were excuses last year, sure. They had upside. They've got players like David Fafita playing for them. They've got Tino. They've got AJ Brimson. They've got talent there, and they cannot get out of their own way. Tino was hurt last year. It was a massive excuse for them, but. What else was there? They signed Des Hasler. They got rid of Holbrook, which was probably a bad decision. They've got overall a pretty mediocre roster. I think they've got talented players they don't know what to do with now. So, what do you do? And this is a problem they had last year. A problem they're going to face this year. The Kinney, Campbell, Brimson, Foran situation.
Mm.
That's 3 into 4. Sorry, it's 4 into 3. Someone's missing out there. They're not dropping 4 in them, they should. I don't know. I just think there's just too much garbage around the Titans, and I know I'm mixing up 2024 and 2025 a bit. To me, it's just all the same. It's just all the same dross that you get from the Titans. They will come out and they will play the Broncos or a good team or Melbourne, and they'll beat them. And then they will go and lose 4 straight games and get flogged by the Tigers, the Eels, the Dragons, and whatever. I'm just done with Titans. I wasn't on that. I'll be happy to back them to win less than 10 games again because that's what they do every single year.
I'm glad you brought that up, Teddy, because they're 10.5 on the regular.
Already on the under, Paul.
I do agree with Teddy though, and I've got them going very, very close to a spoon this season.
You had them for the spoon last year, didn't you?
I probably had them.
No, you did. I recall you were going.
You were harder. I think you would have the Raiders to the spoon, but I think you have the Titans right down there too.
Nah, I play the tape. He had the Titans.
Here we go. Play the tape. You haven't got the tape. So
talk about Rain Man.
I think the tape worked out pretty well for you, Paul. So I'd probably listen to the tape. They were pretty close to the spoon.
But I do agree. It's dark times. They do have a number of players there that can get them through. But once again, they just. I don't know if it's because it's on the Gold Coast and that's more like a holiday, I guess, destination, and that's how they sort of go around doing their business. It just doesn't make sense, but they continue to underperform, and I've got them underperforming again this year.
Who are your halves, Teddy?
My halves for the Titans this year. Who do I think will play, or who have I got? Who would I play?
Both.
I've got playing Foran and Campbell. I would play Campbell and Brimson.
Yeah. Brimson in the centres.
I've got Brimson in the centres, but it failed miserably last year, so I really feel it's a complete waste. But you kind of have to play Keanu Kenny at fullback now.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with. But for me, then you've got to get Brimson in the halves.
Would you put Foran in the 13?
No, too small and too weak defensively. No, I could play Foran at 9. But
Yeah,
you're moving a lot of pieces and playing players out. Because, to me, this goes back to this is just a pretty poorly constructed roster. Like they've got strengths and weaknesses. Like they've got a forward pack that should match with anyone.
Yeah.
Look, take out Hooker. Campbell, Gillard, Fodawaker, Fermor, Fafita, Farsil, Moali. That's a pretty even starting pack.
Mm-hmm.
And Jamin and Joel stopped bad at the bench, but they've got no depth. Well, they can't handle a single injury, the Titans. Come on. Well, they've got no one. They've got players who I've got projected not to be in their 17. Jojo Fafita, Ken Marlowe, Tony Francis, Carter Gord, all that stuff.
Carter Gordon, rugby union player, you'd love him.
Well, I would love him to play because I'm on the under 10.5 wing, so I would love to see a lot. I would love to see a lot of him this year.
That was just lobbed up and Teddy come over the top and just.
As you all know, when it comes to rugby barbs, I don't need them lobbed up. I'm the Roger Federer of being able to find one out of nothing, so having them lobbed up like that.
Man is on fire today. Give us your 5 words or your 2025 5 words or less for the Titans.
Mediocrity is their name. Same one. Copy paste.
I'm going the Smiths. I know it's over.
The whole club, or?
I mean, Morrissey he could find a cloud on a bright blue. So, for mine, it's not looking good for the Titans.
Really, the demographic of this podcast is getting older and older.
bit harsh on the Smiths there.
Alrighty, last team for us to go through today. The mighty One New Zealand Warriors. Teddy, 5 words or less, 2024.
Way to disappoint a nation.
Wow. That's deep. Wow.
I like playing the villain card. Ric Flair always loved it, so do I.
And at least it's not out of character for Teddy.
Yeah, which side of the fence are you sitting on this year, Paul?
Well, let's look back at last year first.
Give us your 5 words or your song.
My 5 words. That's my song. Whitney Houston. Didn't we almost have it all?
Evocative.
I'll go 1. Sold out every game. Every home game, sorry. Sold out every home game.
That's gold.
Thoughts on the 2024 season? I don't know if I want to do this, but yours, please, Teddy.
Well, it was a debacle considering relative to expectations. It was a debacle. You had the Fennell Blake situation, which kind of loomed large. I think I said at the start of the year, I think we probably all agreed, though, that Sean Johnson was never going to be able to recapture his 2023 form. And
don't think he needed to, though.
No, I think we said that. He didn't. I had the Warriors in the 8 last year, so bottom part of it, not just missing out. But either way, they were, had them higher than they were. Looking at their numbers from last year, they undershot their true win expectations. They're probably better than the team they were. I think we all know that. They had a shocking record in close games. That's a huge positive indicator. 3-7-1 in 1 score games.
9 games and one score or less or something.
Yeah. They fell from 16 wins to 9.5 wins, and that's usually a good indication that teams got about top. They were also one of the most injured teams. They were the 3rd most injured team, 2nd most injuries to their spine. They were bad last year, but there were a lot of excuses. also like that you blooded a couple of young players there. Positives from last year, the emergence of Mitch Barnett. Oh, unbelievable. You don't often see that from players his age to completely reshape who they are as a player. But he can play an edge, can play middle, can play 80 minutes, can get through a mountain of work and have an impact and score a try.
Plays Origin.
Did you play for Australia?
Yeah.
Yeah, I played for Australia. That is from Newcastle. When he left Newcastle, he left as a cheap shot merchant who could make a bit of an impact. That's where he left at.
Yeah.
So great. If there's one thing Webster can hold his hat on, it's developing him into that kind of player. The mess around fullback, I think, was an issue last year. Again, I mentioned at the top of the show. Looks like it might be an ongoing issue, but I thought Roger was severely underutilised last year by the back end of the season, and I hope we don't see the same this year. It was Paul was right though. It was a bad year, but it was so close to being a good year. You turn a few of those results around, you make the finals again, all that kind of stuff. I guess the point I'm trying to make is it was a bad year for the Warriors last year. Incredibly disappointing after 2023. But when you kind of delve into it deep, they weren't as bad as the 9.5 win team that they finished up as. I don't think they were even close to being that bad.
Two questions for you, Paul.
Yep.
Who plays in the halves? And who's going to be captain? We actually tried to get this out of Webby at Karaka Millions the other week, Teddy. We tried to trick him into telling us who the captain was, but he's too smart, Webby. He didn't want to give it up.
He knows.
So who's playing the halves, Paul? Who are your captains? Who is your captains or captains?
I think
If it's captains, there's a problem. Anyone who goes two multiple captains is idiotic.
captain's easy for mine. Well, easy for mine. I don't know if it'll happen. I think James Fisher-Harris. He's got the mana. He's won premierships with Penrith. Kiwis captain. It's fairly easy for me. I know you could go Mitch Barnett if you wanted to. I think you just leave Mitch as he is.
You're lumping a lot of Mitch Barnett to make him captain, I reckon.
Yes.
But he was captain for the half of the season last year.
Yeah. No.
That's when Mrs. Star started going like this. I think you keep him captain and you lean on Fisher-Harris to sort of help build him up even more.
It's only a two-man race, though, isn't it? Surely.
Yes.
Yeah. You could argue for Roger, but he's done it before. But I think it's those two.
And the halves, Luke Metcalf is definitely in there.
Yeah.
His injury last year
was
critical.
Turning point in the season.
They lost all creativity after he was gone.
They did. He's that spark.
And they got it back when he came back.
Yeah. So
thanks, Josh Papali.
Metcalf 6, and I think they're going to. I think they'll.
Only one is here.
Well,
is there?
Well, I think they'll start with Tamari Martin, but I think Tanner Boyd will probably be getting.
If you go with Tanner Boyd, if the Warriors go with Tanner Boyd, I take back every positive thing I'm about to say about the club. I'm going to back him for this film.
Oh, gee, this is.
He is one of the worst halfbacks that's ever played in the NRL. I cannot believe you signed him. Tamari Martin also was a sneaky good player last year.
He was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, maybe not sneaky over there, but over here no one talks about Tamari Martin or have really he's kind of generally regarded as a probably bottom 4, bottom 5 halfback, but he was good, and when he was good, but Sean Johnson wasn't there. And so I think that suits well.
That's the other note I had here is, ins and outs. So got Fisher Harrison, Tanner Boyd, Aaron Clark, and Sam Healy. We met Sam Healy the other day. Nice young bloke.
Oh, yeah. And he played really, really well in New South Wales Cup for, was it the Sharks feeder? He's got a bit of gas about him, and he's a great little, if Wade Egan sort of has a couple of games off, he could slot straight in there.
Mitch Healy's son? Is that right?
Yes, I think it is. Yes, I think he is.
Yeah.
Outs, your man Marcelo Montoya. Dogs have also picked up Zion Ma'u in the last couple of days.
Yes.
Did we all we needed? Well, that's a lovely signing.
That's a huge sign. Great.
Adam Whenua-Blake's gone, Jazz Tavanga, and then Sean Johnson and Tohu Harris have retired. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts here. Like, for mine, there's a lot of experience we've lost there, particularly in Whenua-Blake, Tavanga, Johnson, Harris. But I'm not sure it's going to affect the Warriors as bad as it would affect another team losing that much experience.
Yeah. They've got a ton of experience and leadership in the team as we speak right now. James Fisher-Harris, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, Mitch Barnett, Kurt Capewell. There's a lot there that they can build around. So, and the way that their season went last season, this is a big up for me.
I don't care about the quote-unquote experience. This was a D- recruitment class. But you had Whenua-Blake and you let him go. Harris is an adequate replacement. Like, you've done well to get someone of 60% standing. But Whenua-Blake's Whenua-Blake. But to go and sign Tanner Boyd and possibly play him is unbelievable. It's like actually unbelievable. There are so many mediocre halfbacks who go and go and get someone. Like, this is a disaster. Who was the old Titans halfback you signed to come on play one game for you? Who was an absolute shocker, who couldn't tackle for 8 years ago? Ash Taylor. A bit of Ash Taylor about this. Bit of Ash Taylor about this one. Except Tanner Boyd is way worse than Ash Taylor. So there you go. I like the Aaron Clark signing. I think he's a like for like for Jazz Tavanga.
Yes.
So I don't have any problem with that. But I've given it a D-, but I kind of get your point where you're coming from. Like, I'm going to spoil my 5 words, but like sometimes less is more is what I got for my 5 words, and I kind of think your roster looks worse on paper, and probably is worse. But based on the other factors around it, I just think Tamara Martin plays better now. I think you've played Roger at fullback and Chance in the centres, which again I know it's going to happen. Not having the Tohu Harris situation hang over the club. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, everyone loves Tohu, but it's not good when your captain misses a long period of time. Where's he coming back? And you can just settle in with what's going forwards here. So, I like the Warriors this year. I'm not backing them to make the 8. I've got them coming 9th, 12 and 12, but I've backed them to make the 8. You can get $3.40 on them to make the 8. And I reckon that's a bet. I got it right on the fringe, and over 10.5 wins. That's a nice little play there.
11.5.
Fourth easiest draw.
Let me have a look at what I've got for the draw. I don't think I had them at the second easiest draw.
Well, there you go.
Second easiest draw.
And you're only giving them 12 wins.
Only giving them 12 wins because there's no depth to the team. If someone gets hurt, if Metcalf gets hurt again, well, then you are playing Tanner Boyd. And that's a big problem. That's a big, big problem. And you look at players that aren't playing like, Ed Cozy. There's not much there. You've lost Zion Mara now, which is surprising. He struck me as a bit weak in the middle there. So, in depth-wise, not from your starting side. So, yeah, I'll be back and I'll be cheering. I'm ahead of the market on the Warriors this year, but I am limited by the fact that you still got Dale Martinez-Lesnick on bench, and Tanner Boyd might be playing, and there's a bit there.
I hope.
That's as positive as I can get. So I expect a round of applause and finally come home to New Zealand.
Do you know who else we met the other week? Jet Cleary.
Oh yeah, are we still talking about him as the next Nathan Cleary, or are we still talking about him as the next Dean Moore?
Oh, hold on a minute. Wasn't Nathan Cleary barely a first grade player?
Real ton of Boyd, like it sounds like.
Yeah.
No one's ever found the film clip to that. No one's ever found the clip to that. So this just seems like a myth that's built over time. I don't ever recall saying it. I don't think it's ever been said.
Let's wrap this up.
Yeah, we are wrapping it up. So what were your 5 words again, Teddy?
Sometimes less is more.
Australian crawl. the boys light up.
Hey, there he is. There he is.
How dare you invoke a great Australian band like that? Talk up the Warriors.
And my words are just up the wires, baby.
Don't blush, baby.
Is it our year? Is it our year?
I ain't saying nothing.
It's our year.
I ain't saying nothing.
It's our year. Before we wrap this up, it is pre-season. I haven't done any looking at the odds yet, but I'm sure you have, Teddy. You got a couple of bets for us?
For pre-season bets?
Yeah.
Yeah, I sure
And then
do.
like pre-season games.
Oh, pre-season games? No, I haven't.
$2.55. You go, Paul.
Sharks
Yeah, you-
$2.55. The Wars $1.52.
Wars are great bet because the Wars are playing, says on a full strength side.
Yeah.
Sharks are not.
Panthers $1.46. Raiders $2.75.
Panthers minus models there because the Raiders are playing not only backups, they're playing like a very, very ordinary side. So I think Panthers will rotate through. They're playing second string team. Players like Isaiah Papali'i and stuff are playing as well. So
Little multi there, Warriors into Panthers. There we go.
Lovely jubbly.
Good way to get the season kicked off. Fellas, thank you very much for joining us. To all you out there, we'll be back next week to go through teams
The next
12
4
to
teams.
9.
Yeah.
13, 12 to 9? 12, 11, 10, 9. Yeah,
Yeah.
got it right. Yeah. Teddy, thank you.
oh, pleasure. I love talking footy.
Look at that.
We're back. We're back.
Almost bang on an hour.
Okay, I've got to get out of here. I've got a hot, spicy beef noodle soup waiting for me.
Curry with Murray.
Indeed it is.
Someone's trying to get into the studio, so that'll do us.
That's us.
Thank you, punters. We'll see you next week on The Advantage Line.